virtuous thought leaders, scholars, and virtue change agents. My name is Dr. Lisa Marie Portugal, and I am the Leadership Architect. I'd like to welcome you today for joining me on this talk that I have prepared in service to you. This talk is based upon one of my many books called A Culture of Excellence, Virtuous Leadership Principles for Organizational Success, a Management System. And this talk is called Building Relationships. The graphic there on the first slide is the cover of this book. It is called The Four Cardinal Virtues: Prudence, Justice, Fortitude, and Temperance. I would like to invite you to live virtuously. And this is my personal and professional brand logo, my leadership brand. And I also invite you to create your own brand logo as well. We cannot achieve greatness or magnanimity unless and until we master the virtues within ourselves. Reaching greatness or magnanimity is about virtue building within ourselves, our families, communities, and others. We cannot achieve magnanimity until fortitude, self-control, counsel, justice, prudence, understanding, respect for others, temperance, humility, charity, piety, and courage are present first within us. We cannot give to others what we do not possess ourselves. So understanding how to master ourselves and build virtue is the first, ongoing, and last step required for magnanimity. And mastering the virtues is a lifelong and ongoing process throughout our entire lives. When we fall, pick yourself up and start the practice of virtue building again, and do this throughout your entire life. Magnanimity is an ongoing process and a focus we should have throughout our lives. It is also a focus we should have for working with, mentoring, and coaching others to their greatness. We can build virtue within ourselves and help others in our sphere of influence to achieve greatness in their own lives by teaching the virtues and living the virtues in everything we do. So again, live virtuously. Okay, so table of contents about Dr. Lisa Marie Portugal: building relationships, performance and relationships, meaning and relationships, results and relationship, relational leadership, and finally, conclusion, commitment, community building, and stewardship. All right, I'm not going to read through all of my experience here, but if you're interested, you can stop the audio and read through it and then start back up again. I did read through it in the first audio that I created for you. Instead of my picture this time, I added Miss Lucy Van Pelt. I just love her so much. Every time I see this graphic of her, it doesn't matter how many years have passed. Every time I see it, it always makes me laugh. I think it's just hilarious how a child, of course I know it's a cartoon, but would have the audacity to put up her own little booth, psychiatric help 5 cents, right? And then charge her fellow peers and friends for dispensing her opinion and advice to them. And then the doctor is in with her little feet kicked up. I think it's hilarious. She is so cute. I just love her so much. So as a child, that always caught my attention. I don't know why. And now here I am as a doctor myself. So I just think she's so cute. Okay, so, and there she was. She was in service with her opinion to her peers as well, right? All right, so let's continue on. Okay, so we are at slide 5, building relationships. The most compelling leaders are transparent and open with followers and understand how to serve a community in ways that benefit the individual, the group, the organization, and the broader society. Powerful leaders do not need to use power, coercion, or avoidable sanctions to influence followers. I know I don't like anyone doing that over me. So it's important for us as leaders to find out how we can inspire and motivate others to be their best and to produce their best for us and for the broader society, right? So leaders can incorporate performance, meaning, results, and relational leadership themes into their brand to build community and trust. Let me read this quote to you. I just love it, by Joe DiMaggio. A person always doing his or her best becomes a natural leader just by example. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, so now I have Mr. Havard's pyramid here for you about his virtuous leadership model. And I thought it would be great to kind of go through this with you. And this came out of one of his books. As you can see, the citation there, Virtuous Leadership. There are several books that he has out. He also has a website if you're interested in looking into virtuous leadership more deeply. Let's start at the bottom. Okay, so we've got root foundation on the left, contemplative heart on the right, and from bottom to top, first we start with metaphysical humility, awareness of our createdness, ontological humility, and awareness of our dignity. And we want to be able to translate that dignity to others and make them aware that they have dignity as well. Spiritual humility and awareness of our flaws. It's very important for us to know that, not to have hubris. And as I've mentioned before in other talks, that I found out that no other virtue can be obtained until humility is present first. Right? So that's very important. So understanding our weaknesses and our flaws, working through that, we can change our weaknesses into strengths as we work on ourselves, and then teaching others that as well, right? The spiritual humility, psychological humility, and awareness of our talents. And then, of course, that builds our self-knowledge. The middle part of the pyramid here starts with foundation on the left and intellect and will on the right. Let's start with prudence, making the right decisions, right? Right choices, right decisions, right philosophy. All of that has to be in proper order, and teaching that to others. Having courage, running risks, and staying the course. Staying the course is very important. I know many times throughout my life I have wanted to stop or give up or throw in the towel. And here's what I always say to my students or anyone that I'm leading or managing or working with. You know, people will ask me, how have you accomplished all of those degrees? Well, here's how I do it. Even with papers, right? If I have a student ask me, how do I get this paper done? It seems so immense. If it's 8 pages, 5 pages, 12 pages, a dissertation, whatever it may be, staying the course. I just say this, every day do a little something, right? So for myself, every day I do a little writing, whether it's jotting down some ideas, a few sentences, a paragraph. Every day, get yourself into a habit of doing something every day. And then you will find that, you know, if you write 2 sentences a day or a paragraph a day, you have written that paper. You have written that dissertation. You have stayed the course. If we're working on something outside of academia, outside of being a student, it's the same thing. How do we build virtue within ourselves? We practice it, we stay the course, and we do something on ourselves or what we're working on every day. And of course, you know, I take time off as well. So there are times that maybe I do a lot of work one day and then I just crash and I relax and to rejuvenate on another day or another 2 days. But with something that we work on all the time within ourselves, and it's something that we can teach to others. Self-mastery is the next one up the ladder. Directing passions. How do we direct our passions? How do we help others direct the passions they have within themselves? Or how do we inspire and fuel and ignite the passions that they have within themselves? Or notice the talents that they have that they may not know they have themselves, right? I know many people along the way throughout my lifetime have noticed talents that I had that I was unaware of. Okay, the next one up is justice, giving everyone his due, right? Giving everyone respect and dignity. And then we've got integrity there, having integrity. I know that's an important word for me. I hope it's an important word for you. Obviously it is if you're listening to any of my lectures or talks for you. Okay, and then the very top part of the pyramid, we have essence on the left and then active heart on the right. What is your essence? What are you made of? What is important to you? What is your leadership brand that you want to reflect to the world? Magnanimity, striving toward great things. How do we teach that to others? And then fraternal humility, serving others. As you can see, I am serving you today. It is my passion to serve you and to help you become your best. And then finally at the top, greatness and service. So that is the model for virtuous leadership. All right, let's go on to the next slide. Performance and relationships. Let's see. The most compelling leaders are transparent and open with followers and understand how to serve a community in ways that benefit the individual, the group, the organization, and the broader society, right? That's important, serving the broader society. Powerful leaders do not need to use power, coercion, or avoidable sanctions to influence followers. Leaders can incorporate performance, meaning, results, and relational leadership themes into their brand to build community and trust. Okay, so yep, we already did that. Perfect. I just want to make sure I'm covering everything here for you. And let's move on to slide. Let's move back up to 7. Okay, let's take a look at this graphic here. Society can only be happy and free in proportion as it is virtuous. So I just love that quote. It's also another beautiful one. Leadership in the center. As we can see, we've got integrity, frugality, courage, self-control, honesty, humility, and generosity surrounding leadership. You know what? I already read that. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide. All right, when leaders create a sense of feeling connected within the groups they lead, boring work feels more enjoyable and difficult work feels easier. I love that, right? How can we help others if we're leading them properly, right? And we're igniting that fire within them, boring work can be more enjoyable and difficult work can feel easier. I know I take on a lot of difficult work throughout my life, but I enjoy it so much that it does feel easier. I mean, I can do these, I can re-record these talks for you over many times because I want to get it just right, right? So let's take a look at the next line I've got for you. Leaders bring their best when they care about the individuals they serve. We always want to bring our best to the table, don't we? Leaders go the extra mile in everything they do, and they will remain persistent and consistent when problems seem insurmountable. I know every time I read my slides again, it always inspires me because it's important for me to be persistent and consistent. Powerful relationships have the ability to make the work matter. Having relationships can infuse meaning into the work. Make a commitment to we mattering more than I. Strong leaders emphasize the value of building quality relationships with followers to accomplish organizational and individual effectiveness. Leaders are compelling and impressive when they first serve their followers. Results and relationships. As long as individuals work toward achieving shared goals, strong relationships can produce phenomenal results. The most challenging situations and tasks in management can seem less difficult when individuals feel appreciated, respected, valued, and heard. Individuals who care have a desire to commit to bringing advantage to those they care about. When individuals care, they will give their very best. In order to rebuild or build strong communities, leaders need to show the way by demonstrating their own traditional values, virtues, ethics, morality, and right philosophy. To sway followers, leaders need to be an excellent role model and model the way. I love that, right? So you can see what I love because I highlight it or I emphasize it in my tone. Give your very best. Bring your best to the table every day. Show the way for others and model the way. Relational leadership. What is that? What does it look like? Relational leadership focuses on the value of building confidence and trust. When leaders are focused on building relationships based upon confidence and trust, leaders will keep, or followers will keep, movements and organizations alive. They will make changes and they will take risks. Through the act and process of building relationships, leaders can ultimately turn followers into leaders themselves. That is always my goal. My goal is to make you your best. Magnanimity within you, make you the leader that you are, so that you in turn can go out and change the world and help others do the same, right? So the concept involves the following aspects or components. Commitment to building relationships. Leaders in higher positions are responsible for initiating relationships. Do not wait for others to build relationships with you. Connecting on a human level. Leaders with power or authority are responsible for setting the tone of the relationship. Eliminate barriers to more easily connect emotionally with followers. And practicing perspective. Relationship building can be annoying to overworked leaders. Make the time to prioritize building relationships and practicing accurate perspective. Being in a rush for time does not help leaders respect or value the opinions and viewpoints of others. And I have another quote that I love here from Leonardo da Vinci. I have been impressed with the urgency of doing. Knowing is not enough. We must apply. Being willing is not enough. We must do. Okay, more on relational leadership. The following questions can aid in a self-reflection, perspective-taking analysis. So as I go through these questions with you, think about how you can use your own talents, creativity, and ability when working with others while analyzing these questions for yourself. How might leaders build strong relationships with team members? On a scale of 1 to 10, how important are relationships to successful leadership? How are you evaluating the depth of understanding you are communicating to others? How many options have you explored together? I like that one. I usually call it my menu of options, right? In whatever I'm doing, I like other people to have buy-in, and I want them to be proactive in whatever they're doing with me at the time. And by doing that, instead of just saying, do it this way, one way, my way, I offer a menu of options, and I also listen to them. I go on a listening tour to find out who they are and how they can contribute or how they want to contribute. How are you seeking to understand the situations of others? How well do your team members believe that you know them? And how well do you know each team member? Taking inventory of these important factors can be part of one's leadership brand to aid in developing stronger relationships with others. In addition, continuing to improve these variables can build strong follower buy-in and shared vision, mission, and purpose for those we lead. Strong leaders have the ability to nurture each individual within the group. That's important, right? So let's take a look at some leadership virtues that I have here for you. Caring for people first, task second. Quality should be a perpetual quest. I know quality is a perpetual quest to me. As I've mentioned before, I can sometimes re-record these, up to 10 times because I want to get it perfect for you, and sometimes I just have to say, Lisa, just let it go. Let them have it that way, right? But quality is very important to me. Prudence, weighing risks and exercising sound judgment. How do I exercise sound judgment? It's something that I work on daily. And how do I teach exercising sound judgment to others? Temperance, exercise moderation, simplicity, and consistency. I love consistency. Justice, seeking truth. I know I am a truth seeker. Truth is important to me. How do we protect and defend truth and others? And then courage, doing the right thing and always speaking truth. Beautiful. In conclusion, commitment, community, building, and stewardship. All words that I love. This discussion identified various foundational factors that leaders need to address when implementing a major transformational shift. A broad list of important factors were listed, and 3 specific variables were examined in more detail. The 3 specific variables discussed with greater clarity, including having a learning approach, thinking strategically, and building relationships. Serving the needs of others and the broader community means commitment, community building, and stewardship. The act of stewardship is about serving the needs of the other rather than placing the first or the self first. Finally, stewardship means serving the greater good and contributing one's best to others and society. So how do we change the world? How do we change the culture? How do we change society to improve it for the better? How do we even change others? We start by ourselves first, practicing those virtues and then teaching those virtues to others, teaching virtue building. I want to thank you all for joining me today. It was my honor and my pleasure to make this for you and to serve you. Thank you so much.